Hello, good evening. My name is WBrown. This is my interpersonal communication project. Interpersonal communication is a process by which people exchange information, feelings, and meaning through verbal and nonverbal messages. It is face-to-face communication. Two forms of communication is nonverbal and verbal. Nonverbal is communication without spoken words, gestures, body language, facial expressions. Verbal communication is the use of sounds and words to express yourself. No, yes, maybe. The research suggests that only 5% effect is produced by spoken words, 45% by tone, inflection, and other elements of voice, and 50% by body language, gesture, movement, and eye contact. Effective listening. What does literature states? Burley Allison states, listening carefully to what we say and how we say it can teach us an immense amount about ourselves. Interpersonal communication skills test. This semester, I had a chance to take an interpersonal communication skills test, which I learned a lot about myself. One thing I learned that I was a very insightful person. The pro to being insightful is being able to put myself in other people's shoes. The negative effect of that is sometimes I spend more time on the message. I spend more time on sending the message instead of spending time on how the message is received. Sense what others are thinking. Communication average. My communication average was a 53 out of 100, which means average, but it's always room for improvement. Self-esteem. I believe that I have to increase my self-esteem, have more faith in myself, and what I have to offer to my students. Verbal expression. Verbal expression was very low. I scored a 38 out of 100, which means difficulty getting my point across, feel frustrated in my interactions, unable to explain myself clearly, and for example, in school, trying to convince students the importance of school when they see no purpose for attending class. As you know, I'm a behavior specialist / dean of student for a high school, so I deal with a lot of behaviors 5 days a week, all day. Assertiveness. I scored a 56 out of 100, meaning trouble expressing yourself, different opinions, refrain from sensitive issues, afraid of hurting others. For instance, working with a female student who has been sexually assaulted, trying to get them to express themselves without scaring them away. Sometimes I deal with students that has dealt with molestation, rape, and a lot of times I don't want to come off as aggressive, trying to get them to explain what's really troubling them. Sometimes I what people say, beat around the bush, but in all means I'm trying to help. Listening skills. I was very shocked for my listening skills. I thought that I had great listening skills, but the skills test shows that I scored a 44 out of 100. So learning how to listen more and speak less. I am guilty of that. A lot of times I don't know whether or not in certain situations the clients, me and the client, we exchanging too much information. I'm there to listen to the students and not give my personal experiences or personal opinions. Emotional management. I'm not completely comfortable dealing with emotional charged situations. Lost in terms of what to say, occasional discomfort. For example, back in 1999, my aunt was chopped up and thrown in the river. That was a troubling time for me. She was my favorite aunt. And a lot of times when I'm talking to students, I have a hard time dealing with students that has had traumatic experience. It brings back my childhood, and a lot of times I have to refrain myself from going any further. Strengths and limitations. Strength and potential strengths. I'm very insightful from what the skills test suggested. Average communication, somewhat assertive when you talk to others, when I talk to others, relatively comfortable dealing with emotions. My limitations, not able to communicate clearly to others. Self-evaluation. First, I would like to say thank you. For my self-evaluation, I would just like to say that I learned a lot from this class. I learned a lot about myself. I thought that I had great listening skills. I thought that I dealt with situations very well. After taking this class, I would take two things from this class. I would take listening more, talking less, and I would take trying to get my point across clearly. It's always room for improvement. Nobody is perfect. But I think by taking this class, I was able to research myself and gain information that can help me in my field of work. I'd just like to say thank you, Dr. Cooper. You are a tremendous teacher, tremendous professor, and I thank you for all your hard work. Goodbye.